Well, you can see I'm working on the round baler pickup. I didn't get any footage of me actually replacing the teeth. It's kind of a tedious job. But a quick rundown of what I have to do. I gotta take the bands off over top of where the nuts and the bolts are, so I can get down in and loosen them, replace them. Say, an easier way to do it is take off every single band. Yeah, you can do that. I'm trying to be as efficient as I can, so I went with just taking off every other one that I needed to, because these are a bit of a bear sometimes to take on and off. Now, some of these bolts, when you run these are exposed to the material that you're running through the baler, and some of these got worn off to where I couldn't even get them out with the impact or the six-sided socket. So I actually messed them up a bit trying to back them out. But we went to the local John Deere dealership and picked up a bunch of new ones. Unfortunately, they didn't have enough for us, but I don't need every single one replaced. I just originally ordered enough to replace all of them. That's a non-issue. You can see the solid green teeth I put on randomly throughout the pickup. It wasn't near as bad as I thought it was. Oh, here, actually look at you. It wasn't near as bad as I thought it was. It turns out when the baler is closed, with the end gate closed and parked back in the shed, I couldn't see all the teeth in the pickup. I was just seeing the two sections, because there are actually 4 rails that run around this, and I could only see the 2 for the way it was unhooked and where it was sitting. And on those 2 particular, I was missing, well, this one right here. You can see I was missing all these teeth and this tooth. But you guys are noticing that I didn't replace all the teeth because I'm still missing some. See, like this one. But the reason I did not bother to go through and replace all of them is because teeth are expensive, and those are actually still in pretty good shape. What I look for, did you take them already? What I look for when I replace these teeth with just a single tooth on them is this. If you guys see where it was rubbing, maybe you can't. You see where it was rubbing and the single tooth is hitting the band here. Now I try to, when you put them back on, you try to keep them centered so they don't rub on the band. But honestly, with my next baling job, this tooth would have been busted too. So something like that is pretty well common sense to replace. Now, I get these back on, I gotta put the bands back on, which won't be that big of an issue. Then I need to go through all the chaff and debris, residue, fodder that's on it. I'm going to pull it outside so I can blow it out. I'm going to be greasing it, and I may or may not oil the chains, because for how dusty fodder is, I think that's actually going to be working against me. And I don't want an early failure on these chains, because I just replaced them. It wasn't this spring, might have been last fall, but they're not old enough to justify having to replace them now. But somebody that asked, I can do this in more than one video. Somebody asked what I thought of these weights on the 7600, and yeah, they do look pretty cool there. But the weights, I honestly feel, actually helped out the ride of the tractor more. I don't get the hop down the road as I used to get. Just say this is only, what, 300 and some pounds in the back, and I put 400 pounds in the front. So overall the tractor's about 700 pounds heavier, and that little bit I honestly feel helped. If I felt that I needed more weight, I have no problem going up and going to the dealership, and they can have me another set of weights for the back, or they can get me a few more weights for the front end. I can have them in a couple days. But on these weights, I'm planning on keeping on year-round. Say this is my primary chore tractor. Something that is going to be happening that I was just talking to the parts guys about. You guys all know that my raise arms and my 76 just aren't working, to the point where they're gradually have been getting worse for a couple years. The first 2 years it wasn't even that big of an issue. It's just that when they got fully up, say they would stick in the top 2-3 inches, and then they would drop. I mean, it's like it was like a little bit of a time delay, like after I dropped them. But after talking to the parts guy up there, who happens to be more of a tractor mechanic, at least he knows what he's talking about, and he said that seems how I've been greasing this back shaft on here. I see these grease zerks are not factory. I got about 4 tubes of grease in there. I've been looking around as to what else could be giving me issues, and I heard from somewhere, can't remember where, that these raise cylinders, that the seals in them can get bad, and it collects dirt, dust, crud, and they stick. So right now, that's currently where I'm at as far as these raise arms. This is my snow removal tractor. I put the blade on for removing snow, and I use it for putting out bales in the winter. So I really need this to work properly, because otherwise it just gives me a headache. So what I found out that I can do is that you take these pins out, top, bottom, and this actually just raises out. There's nothing that actually holds it in. It just sits down in there. Now, I don't know how much you guys can see. It is collecting quite a bit of crud around it. I haven't looked at the other side yet, but if I do this, it's going to be a all or nothing job, so I'm going to do both sides. I'm going to take the pins out, polish them up, hit them either really heavy with grease or a WD-40 product, and put them back together, and hopefully that fixes my issue. If it doesn't, it's back to that back shaft and anything else that may be sticking. But the actual arms down underneath are actually pretty loose. So, quite honestly, for how these have been acting recently, I'm going to say that that was an existing issue. But let me talk to you guys in a little bit.